All right, good afternoon, guys.
Doug, if you had scored at the end of the game, would you have gone for
Extra
two?
point. Yeah. I, can I elaborate?
Yeah, of course.
Please.
I'd love for you to.
I just felt like at that time, too, our defense was playing outstanding. I mean, outside of the start of the third quarter where they went down and scored, and they scored on a trick play, our defense played really well. They punted the rest of the game. So I felt like at that point, you tie the game, get a chance maybe to go to overtime and win it there.
Is Lane anything on Lane? Anything new on Lane?
Protocol. He's in a protocol. Yeah.
What play did he get hurt on?
It was he came out after that touchdown drive. I don't know specifically what the play was, but it was after that drive that he came to the sideline and we checked him and had to put him in the protocol.
Can you tell us how long, what stage he is in the protocol?
Well, it's still early, so it's I guess stage 1 of the 5-stage program.
Yeah.
So it's stage 1.
I know it's kind of hard to maybe quantify it, but how much of the offense's struggles after he went out were because he was out?
I mean, it affected the run game a little bit from the standpoint of, him and Brandon working together, and getting those reps during the week. Still got a lot of confidence, obviously, in Big V. He filled in there. But that it's a loss. I mean, you're talking about a Pro Bowl caliber, right tackle, and he and Brandon together do some great things. And so it affects you a little bit, with the running game.
Any thought about getting Dillard reps on that side? Or?
Going into the game, obviously he was, JP's status during the week, obviously he was still working at left tackle. But moving forward, if again, depending on Lane's status at the end of the week, the plan would be to work Dillard a little bit at right tackle.
To Dave's point in the second half, when you guys seemed to getting away from the run game a little bit, was that more the Patriots defense? Was it the fact that Lane wasn't out there? Was it the fact you guys were trying to pass the ball more? What
Yes.
kind of happened? Yeah.
All the above. Some of it was Lane, but it's not all on that. Injury obviously it happens during the course of the game. The other thing was just we did struggle to kind of get positive yards in the run game, and sustain positive yards. And we might have one good play and then we might take a step back or there was a penalty. And so, and then two, as the game progressed, I felt like that, in order for us to kind of get ourselves in a position to score and tie it, we needed to find an explosive play. And so the passing game became, a little more important at that time.
As a follow-up to that, Miles Sanders is someone who's provided that for you. Were you trying to get him involved in the passing game? Were the Patriots bottling him up?
Yeah, we were. And of course the Patriots, they put a DB on him. They put a linebacker on him a couple of times, as they did Zach for the majority of the game. So, yeah, they schemed him up as well. But yeah, it wasn't for lack of trying.
How are Alshon and Jordan looking for next week?
Right now, each one is they're doing well. We'll have another injury report on Wednesday, obviously after the practice there, but not going to go into a lot of detail with either one of them. But both of them are progressing nicely.
On Dillard.
Do you feel like Nelson should have had that ball in the back of the end zone?
It would have been a heck of a catch. The angle he was on, and I don't know if the wind moved the ball at all, but he was having to bend back over, kind of over his shoulder. It would have been a spectacular catch if he'd have got it. And I'm sure he's beating himself up for not making that play.
On Dillard, when you say he'll practice on the right side this week, if Lane can't go, do you mean with the starters or as a backup?
With the starters.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. Yeah. With the starters.
Okay.
Jim dialed up some extra pressure a good deal against Brady, which is not generally, he gets the ball out as well. Does that speak to a growing confidence in the back end that they can hold their own as they get a little healthier, that he felt a little more confident to bring guys?
Yeah, I think that's what you're seeing with the health of Darby now and Jalen back there, Avante back in there, and Rodney, Malcolm, those guys. So it does help when you can hold up on the perimeter to be able to dial up a few more pressures and get to the quarterback. And you got to you have to do that against great quarterbacks to try to disrupt some timing.
Doug, what's the plan for Jay this week? I mean, obviously you signed him on Friday, so I would assume that's why you replaced him.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you signed him late, so it was just kind of an emergency situation. If we needed him, in that football game, yesterday. But we'll incorporate him. If again, if Jordan, like Lane, if he doesn't practice or whatever during the week, then we definitely will get Jay ready to go.
Why was the timing on that the way it was? Jordan Howard hadn't been cleared for contact, and it took until Friday to bring Jay.
He wasn't cleared for contact, but he was working individual drills. So we had we were optimistic that he was going to maybe be available for the game. That's why it was later in the week than earlier.
What's the biggest teaching point that Wentz should take away from this past game?
I think that, when he looks at this game, and I'm sure he already has, that there were opportunity. There were opportunity in the passing game to make some plays. I think that he would agree with that, and just really, he doesn't have to feel like that he has to make all the plays. Even though he touches the ball and he is the quarterback, and we ask him to do a lot, just let the offense kind of work and let the guys around you make the plays. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's a takeaway, and you don't have to feel like. And I think maybe as the game progressed, we all kind of maybe felt like there was a little bit of a pressing going on. Like we were trying to make that play against that great defense, and you really don't have to do that. Just let things unfold, and I can do a better job as far as maybe being a little more patient in the run game and helping them out that way, and that's a takeaway that obviously each week that I look at for myself, and yet I keep going back to and it's not about one guy, as you know. I mean, it takes 11 on offense, so we got to do better up front in protection. Obviously, the backs have got to do a better job there as well, and then our skill guys have to get open. So there's a combination of a lot of things that we can all take away from this game.
Did you see any examples when he was holding the ball along in the pocket and couldn't find guys open, but when maybe he could have either extended the play by moving outside the pocket and getting guys to move around, or to run on his own?
I mean, there's always those opportunities. Patriots had a lot of line games and stunts, throughout the game, and there were a couple of free runners on our quarterback, and so you're trying to go timing and rhythm with the throw, and the next thing you know, it's being disrupted by a game. So those are all things that we can fix and work on, this week, because we're going to see the same style again with Seattle.
It seems like
balance in the first half with running and passing. What you got away from the run, I think, a little bit in the second half. Only 9 carries. What was the reason for that?
I think again, just trying to find that explosive play, and kind of like what we had in the first half. I mean, we did have a nice balance, as you mentioned, but at the same time, for me, I was looking for that, and there were opportunities because we started getting, even though Dallas had dropped the one pass, those deep cross routes were starting to kind of come open against their man coverage. We hit some in-breaking routes. We had some opportunities there, and so I kept going back to those types of plays and trying to hopefully get that explosive play, and then mix the run in after that, throughout the course of the second half. And then once we got later in the game, we were more in a 2-minute mode, obviously trying to get ourselves in a position to score.
Doug, it does seem like Carson's missed more open guys than he has in the past. Do you agree with that? And if so, any ideas what's happening there?
Well, I think there's always opportunity to hit, more receivers, during a game, and each week's a little bit different. The circumstances are different. Pass protection, the rush, all that stuff can affect your eyes, can affect your movement of the pocket, and it can affect your accuracy. I mean, that's just all part of playing the position and playing this game. The other thing is we have to do a better job of coaching, our skill guys versus man-to-man, bump and run, things like that. Keep working that in practice, presenting that picture properly in practice, and that's really the only way you can continue to get better. And if you do more of that, then you'll be better off in games.
How much of that is on Carson? Are you saying it's really just on everyone
It's on
else?
everybody. It's on everybody, because it's not just the quarterback position. Even though, again, it seems like the quarterback always gets kind of either the credit or the blame, but it still takes the protection. We miss the backs. I mean, you look at the backs. I mean, we missed some protection there, right? Or got edged just a little bit, and with some of the games and things like that. That all disrupts the timing of the quarterback. So there's enough to go around that in coming out of this game, things that didn't show up maybe in the last 2 games or last 3 games, but showed up in this game, that we can get better moving forward.
So you've had a lot of long drives this year, and you had the 16-play drive that ate up like 9 minutes. And you mentioned earlier about, not being able to hit on those chunk plays. So from the quarterback perspective, how difficult is it for the quarterback to sort of have to sustain those long drives and almost kind of be perfect on long drives?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at our average field position, the starting field position, it wasn't great. It was well back, 80-plus yards on most of them. And it's hard in this league, especially against good defenses. It's hard to go, 80, 85 yards all the time and try to score. So you'd love to, and we had opportunities on defense to create some turnovers too. So, those two things go hand in hand. So the field position game is important, and it felt like, especially in the second half where we felt backed up, which we were, and then punting, and then they're getting the ball up around midfield, and then punting again, and we're backed up again. So, those are all things that, they're hard. I mean, it's hard to overcome and especially sustain multiple drives of, say, 80-plus yards.
After the game, Carson was hard on himself about the fumble, but this has come up a few times now this season, last season. What are you seeing in terms of the fumbles?
Well, it was unfortunate. I mean, he got hit right on the arm, right on the hand, and the ball came out. Obviously, you don't like that, and you don't want that, especially deep in your own end like that. But, we just continue to preach ball security to all our players, all our skill guys, and when we get a chance to coach him up, we'll coach him up on the progression of the play and try to help him, in that situation.
You mentioned the opportunity for turnovers. What did you make of that call to say forward progress on the fumble that Jenkins caused?
Yeah, I guess, whistle blew, forward progress was stopped, and nothing I could do about it.
Did the whistle blow on the field?
Yeah.
Doug, I understand you're not. I understand
Sorry.
you're not in charge of personnel, but since Howie's unavailable, I'll ask you: what is the organizational thinking behind bringing back so many players this year that had either previously played for the Eagles or that, it's actually in every circumstance, had previously played for the Eagles?
Well, when you look at the kind of the big picture league wide of all the talent players who are out there who maybe have worked out for other teams, maybe not, obviously they're not signed anywhere right now. There are a lot of good players out there. But at the same time, when it comes down to guys that can come in and help us, like right now, especially in Jay's situation, they've been a part of our system. They know our culture. They know our offense, or if it's a defensive player, they know our defensive, system. So it's guys that can come in and sort of plug and play, even though there's a, and you never know. I mean, you're talking about personnel. You got to think about injury history, obviously, with every player, not just the ones we sign or our own guys, but there's injury history. There's, who's available, who's working out for which teams, things like that. So, we're always looking. We're always, if there's an injury situation that comes up, we're always looking to, who's the next best available, out there that can come in and help us. Thank you.
Thanks.